We're talking about all the ways to use and navigate the interwebs. Lucor just mentioned MySpace. And hi, welcome back to Rabbit Troop Sucks. And you guessed it, we've got a guest. Next to me is Mike, who is not our guest. But next to me is Lucor, who is our guest. Hi, Lucor. Yeah, he's back. And I'm Paul. And we're going to be looking at a movie, The Great Yokai War from 2005. And to ask, I mean, I guess just to open up, let's talk about this. This is The Great Yokai War. How many yokai wars have either of you been in? And have they been great? I mean, clearly this is the great one, but have they been noteworthy?
Well, I would assume this is the first one if we're using the World War.
Well, that's what I mean. Like before this, I'm sure you have any of you been in skirmishes or
Oh, like a yokai battle of
like
some kind.
Or
yokai.
yokai disagreement.
Yeah.
That was the great yokai disagreement of 2003 led to this movie.
They had beef.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally have not been in a yokai war or skirmish or,
Kerfuffle.
ballyhoo.
You've just got to keep your head down.
Yeah.
That's what I've been trying to do. Like people bring this up, and I'm like, I don't want to be involved.
Well, if maybe you're not drinking enough Kirin to see them.
See, Kirin really brings it all together.
It does. Yeah.
It really doesn't matter the situation you find yourself in right in that moment. If you have a cool, refreshing Kirin made with Colorado Mountain spring water.
Yeah.
This has been brought to you by Kirin's Hopeful Dreams and the money you should channel to us. Rabbit Troop Sucks.
Yeah, and remember Colorado's waterways.
It's important, you guys. I wish I had known we were doing this. I would have brought some.
Would you become the Kirin Rider?
Yeah, that's how it works.
How does one become the Kirin Rider?
It bites you in the head.
Well, I'm going to go to a summary of this film that may or may not really... Well, Lucor's question was, how can you summarize such a film? And I said, that's a great question. And IMDb and the authors that post there did it for us. I'm only reading the first one. Often there's many, and I'm reading the shortest. And I said this summarizes this to its core, but does it... A young boy is chosen as the defender of good and must team up with Japan's ancient spirits and creatures of lore to attempt to destroy the forces of evil. And that's true.
That's fair.
Yeah, those are things that do happen.
That is a thing that happens in this film.
It's amazing that you can speak to what happens and leave out so much.
That's also fair. How did any of your notes begin?
I jump right into the what is it? Post-apocalyptic Tokyo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tokyo is in flames.
They got the sunset scene that Apocalypse Now tried for day after day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some kid's laying on the ground crying about his sister and his dad or whatever. Like a little bitch.
Okay, and then we get some weird narration where a child is like, "That's the summer I fell in love and told a white lie." And I just watched this film, and I don't honestly know what either of those things he's talking about. I mean, kind of. The love part, maybe. What's the white lie?
What he tells the guy at the end. We'll get there.
Okay.
I'll let you know when it happens.
Who's telling what guy?
We'll get there.
Lucor, do you know the white lie?
Wait, are we talking about that weird blood demon that appeared shortly after the white lie? Or the red lie?
Is there a red lie?
There's a white lie and a red lie.
He calls it a red lie.
Yeah.
And then the blood demon gets born.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I remember the red lie then. What's the white lie?
We'll get there. It happens at the very end of the movie.
I think the white lie was an analogy. Mm-hmm. Making space for the red lie.
Yeah.
Which is very similar. I honestly couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
They both were meant to make someone feel better.
Oh.
Well, we'll elaborate when he tells them. But you just have to, you got to let it marinate for a little bit.
But worry not, even with the narration of all of this. Everything in the beginning was just a dream.
Mm-hmm. That's really true. And that was a thread that weaves confusingly in and out of this movie.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Uh, yeah. I don't know enough about Japanese folklore, so there's going to be a lot of holes in our analysis and a lot of question marks. I mean, a lot of what I noted as we're watching this film was allusions to Spirited Away. I'm like, okay, like I've watched Spirited Away a bunch, and I've read things about Spirited Away, and I know a little bit about this. But seeing some of this live, I think so. Basically, what I think I'm saying is, watching it in an animated form, start to finish, made more sense to me. But watching this live action with a movie that is clearly on a budget, that was eye-opening for me. So, yes.
I feel like they did a really good job of creating a thriving metropolis, as you might say, of denizens of the underworld.
Okay.
You know, it just seemed like people had their lives going on. Like it wasn't always just about this magnificent Kirin gentleman.
Oh.
You know, they had their
Kato.
festivals. They were. It seemed like the kind of place you wanted to spend eternity.
Okay, so yes, I don't disagree with that. So part of the story is there's like an evil overlord Kato, and he's like there's a bunch of like, I don't know, like thrown away spirits, and I don't know how that works. And he's like, I'm gonna get all those thrown away spirits to become my army, and everyone's like, all right, dope.
Right. Well, he's fed by the things that we throw away because he lives on a big pile of trash.
But why are people throwing these spirits away?
Trash fire.
Yeah. I think the spirits maybe he captured.
The spirits captured him?
No. I think he captured the spirits.
Oh, but no. Why? But so he wait. But who's throwing them away initially?
I don't think anyone's throwing the spirits away.
He throws them away.
He
into
throws
that
them
like
away.
weird fire water pit
Right.
that burns.
Yeah.
And the drowning.
But no. Yes.
For
so
the
he's-
listeners are very confused right now because we have not talked about anything that has happened.
Yes. Well, this gentleman is recycling or something spirits. I think two things are happening. He's got that like well of souls that he's like recycling and doing weird stuff. But at the very beginning, he was on that trash heap and he's like, I'm gonna arise all of you. So I'm like, where were they coming from?
Well,
Like,
so I think we have two things happening. I think he has captured yokai.
okay.
Yokai
Spirits.
who are not there of their own volition because they're being held in a prison. And he also has piles of trash, the things that humanity has thrown away. There's like exposition in the middle of the movie where someone's like, yeah, like the problem is you keep throwing shit away, and he has it, and he's throwing it into that Genova Project goo box, and making demon monsters.
I hate goo boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, people might like goo boxes. You should Google goo
I'm not
boxes.
going to do that.
Well, not you, the listeners. While you're driving,
Yeah, definitely do that.
get an audio narrative of what a goo box is while you're driving on your Google search.
Yeah.
And it's good to point out that this movie does touch fairly heavily upon the existential threat that humanity poses to the world in general.
It's all about waste. Yeah.
Yeah, but does like every damn thing have a spirit? Is that what I'm led to believe? Because I thought there was like one spirit that's all encompassing. Like I'm the spirit of this, this glass of water that I'm drinking with ice. Not like every glass of ice water has a spirit.
Well, it's like a city councilman or woman. You've got one of those, but it doesn't mean you don't have every single person in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't know those people in that neighborhood. If you're listening, do not try to contact me in a neighborhood. None of us live in neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Well, we got this kid,
Yeah.
Tadashi. Tadashi's a young go-getter.
Right.
Tadashi is I take it he is, I don't know if they say Tokyo proper, but he is a city-oriented kid who has moved to a very, very, very rural town in Japan somewhere. And he is clearly getting bullied from students. And they're like, hey, big city kid. And they're at a festival of sorts. and there is a dragon dance of sorts, and the dragon stops at Tadashi and claims that he will be the Kirin Rider for the year. And this foreshadows a lot of the film. And this has been brought to you by Kirin. So,
Yeah.
crack one open.
It's easy to forget, and then when you realize again, it makes it all the more refreshing.
Yeah.
That's the ride.
Yeah. Yeah, he is appointed Kirin Rider, and he doesn't really know what that means. He goes home to where he lives with his drunk grandfather and I believe drunk mother.
I think she's working a lot. She's got other things going on.
Well, when she came home after the festival, she seemed like she yelled.
That's festival talk.
She yelled pickles at him. And
That's festival.
She also had some pickles.
she did have some pickles.
And I would say that if, getting through the day, she had a few drinks and then brought some pickles home.
I mean, that's win-win for everyone.
Oh, is that a Long Island iced tea?
Where
did that come from?
Yeah.
So it is. Yeah, hey. Let's not narc on Mom.
Yeah.
Mom went to the festival. And if you keep talking ill of the festival, then we don't have 7 festivals every month, Mike.
Right, I'm sorry.
And it overlooks the grandfather.
Right.
Yeah, the grandfather who is in the other room yelling at a television and vomiting.
Well, it's noted only every third day
Every
does he
third
do
day,
this.
yeah.
But I would say festival barring, so every third day plus festivals.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like 23 to 24 days out of the month, Grandpa does Grandpa time.
Yeah, and the kid explains to his mother. She says, "Well, you're the Kirin Rider. Did you get a prize with that?" He said, "Yes, I got this box of beans, rice, and a towel."
That's good.
Keep an eye on those beans though, because those are going to come into play later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, that was a good prize, and his mother agreed.
Yeah, no, that you can't lose.
There's also a box of rice, which I didn't really understand. I mean, it was like a cardboard box of
Right,
rice, like cooked rice in there,
right. It looks like a thing that you would get a chocolate assortment in, but
Right.
it was just food.
which also helps people later on.
It does.
And it didn't specify the type of towel, but I imagine it was fairly nice.
It had a little dragon on it, or a Kirin.
What they didn't tell you is slightly used.
Fuck. It was
Yeah. There was I talked about it before. There was a yokai skirmish.
Well,
Wasn't big.
Okay.
See,
Got a little on there.
the movie really speaks against waste. So,
Yeah.
it really makes sense that, everything feeds into the plot.
That's why that damn creature was bleeding butter.
Right.
Oh my
Well,
god.
yeah, so let's talk about the creature bleeding butter. So we cut to outside of somewhere, and like a giant mech warrior thing drops out of the sky and starts chasing around these weird little rat things that are all wearing shirts.
I love them. I
And-
love them all.
And
They're
it
adorable.
captures a bunch of them except for one. See, this is why I say that the yokai are captured, not thrown away. Because the suited man is sending mech warriors out to capture things.
I mean, of course.
Yeah,
Well-
obviously.
It seemed like the main capture, though, involved lots of teeth and maybe some fire.
There were both of those things. I think.
Do they get a choice?
Right.
And do I get a heads up?
You do not.
Okay. Do I submit this in a ballot like earlier on? Like when I come for you, and I will come for you, how would you like me to come for you? Which will be soon.
Yeah.
They,
Fire.
they really
the
only get
biting.
2 choices. There's the fire tooth Cadillac
Nice.
or that whip.
Well,
No one likes the whip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tadashi,
Yep.
yeah, fuck yeah. He's at school the next day and he's getting bullied again, and the kids are like, "Yo, you see the Kirin Rider? You gonna get the goblin sword? You fucking phoebe."
Yeah, they call him a phoebe a couple times.
Also, I'm gonna say phoebe probably more than a couple times. If this is like insensitive or a racial slur that I don't know about, I apologize in advance. I'm not gonna Google it.
I mean, it probably is. It probably stems from feeble-minded.
Right.
So not great.
Well, in the scheme of things, it's lower key.
I'm
than
only
what I was
laughing that
saying.
why are these kids even doing this? Like, hey, like, you come to our village and you're honored.
Right. Phoebe.
What a phoebe. Like, why are you doing
Phoebe
this?
move? Because kids are pieces of shit.
See, I thought it was related to the word plebeian.
Plebe, but then they'll call you a plebe.
Well, I mean, kids.
Yeah, well, they're not very smart, so.
Yeah.
But, so he's got it in his mind now that he has to go to Goblin Mountain and get a goblin sword, because that's
where it is.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Kirin Rider's supposed to do. His grandfather confirms this in the next scene when he is telling stories about...
I'm pretty sure that's not his grandfather. But I think it's just like a random guy telling this kid on the street.
He refers to him as his grandfather constantly.
I don't think this is the same person, but
No,
it could be.
I think it is.
It could be.
So he's just... Because in this scene, he's towing this old man with like a towel.
He is towing an old man with a towel.
But you're telling me that old man is different than the old man he lives with.
I believe so.
How did you get to this conclusion?
I think Grandpa's still at home.
Okay.
So do you think he just...
It's a different kind of town.
Yeah, okay.
So just towel people off.
Well, I mean, this was before you had Google Maps on your phone.
That's
Right.
true.
If you were lost, you needed to find someone to direct you with a towel.
That's Japanese Google Maps. It's just an old man that you drag around.
I was lost. Well, I don't want to say like lost. I was looking for something in Tokyo with my wife, and we were sort of lost where those directions could be. And Google Maps in Japan is like, go left to street and go up to street and go right to street, because there are no street names in Japan. And it's super weird, and sometimes it gets loose on the connections. And we're looking for a small restaurant, which we did eventually find, but we did ask someone for directions. I very gently encouraged my wife to be like, you should be the one. Like, I bet someone would talk to you. Like, you're a pretty young woman. You should go talk to someone. Just smile. And the guy did. Zero English, and even was like confused with the directions on my wife's phone, and did kind of help get us there. It was really just in the cross street, but I'm going to tell you, it did not encourage me to want to ask anyone else for directions at any point in time.
Did they not issue you an old man in a towel?
What I'm saying is, yeah, like this, like I wish this guy was there, because if an old man with a towel was on a like street corner, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think actually the tourist would be the old man, because the protagonist of this saga, he's leading this old man through the complexities of a fairly erratically spread out urban area.
That's true.
So you're saying Tadashi is an ass?
Tadashi,
Yeah.
honestly,
He's the Kirin Rider friend.
he was a hero in that scene, like weaving through traffic.
Toweling people off.
I think he was just getting that old drunk guy home. Also, to our Japanese listeners, apologies for anything that we get wrong.
I mean, yeah, totally. I'm not making fun of any cultures, but there is just things I do not understand in this film. And
Well, you kind of phrased it like this earlier. This is like because you feel like what we just watched was kind of a lot of culturally relevant things that a lot of people are aware of, just not us. It would be like if someone who had no concept of Christmas or people around it watched a movie about Santa Claus. And
yeah.
Like, who the fuck is
Can you
this
imagine
man?
trying to explain Santa who's never seen it? Like, this huge, jolly, fat white man is going to give you things with rosy cheeks, and you may or may not like it. No.
Right, like if you watched the Santa Claus with no back context for what Christmas or Santa or elves were,
Right,
that would be a wild ride, and I feel like that's what we just did.
And not even getting into the reindeer dynamics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what you're saying, Mike, is at some point in time we just need to rescore the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Just like take out all the dialogue and we'll just score it.
We'll just overdub it with our
Done.
own. Okay.
I'm in. It's going to be an epic Christmas for you to remember, listeners.
It is. But so, yeah, the old man, whether or not it's his grandfather that he's dragging around with the towel, tells him, he reinforces this tale that the kids told him. He's like, yeah, so the Kirin Rider has to go to Goblin Mountain, get the goblin sword, and something goblin sword. And the kid's like, you know what? I guess I should probably do this. I'm the Kirin Rider. I'm going to walk up to this fucking mountain. And he says, so, hey, old man, where is Goblin Mountain? And the old man's like, oh, it's this mountain right there. It's the first one you can see. which is handy because he has to walk there. And he does. And he eventually he gets scared of Goblin Mountain, and he gets on a bus that happens to be driving by.
Yeah, the bus is not for me. It reminds me right out of Nightmare on Elm Street. Just like a random bus in the woods pops up at night.
Yeah.
And it's not night. I mean that like literally, like it's night then not night at certain parts. Like, yeah, I would not have gotten on the bus. And then some nightmare creature gets on the bus.
Yeah, there's a lot of nightmare. He can start seeing goblins and shit.
Yeah, this movie's PG-13. I mean, if you're 13 and above, I totally get it. But like, if you're not there, this movie borders R in areas for me.
Yeah.
Like just visually, not dialogue or anything like that.
But on this bus is where he encounters one of those weird little rodent things that was being chased around earlier.
The last one.
The last one, and it's leaking what looks to be like hot mustard packets from when you get Chinese food.
Sunekosuri is the little creature he calls. And yes, and I'm now going to reference it as a cabot. Lucor, do you remember where a cabot's from?
I do.
Lucor, can you tell the listeners where a cabot is from?
I don't remember.
Do you remember it all?
I feel like it was possibly shit. What was the name of that anime?
That's
Tenchi?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So Tenchi Muyo or Tenchi
Universe.
Yeah, anything from the Tenchi universe. There's a alien creature and it's half cat, half a rabbit, and it kind of reminds me of this thing. So I'm just gonna call it a cabot.
Okay.
And that's what that creature is called in Tenchi, a cabot.
And sometimes the sauce that comes out looks kind of like a nice butter.
Yeah, if you beat the shit out of this creature, it bleeds butter. It just looks like melted butter coming out of it, which is sad because I like this creature, but
yeah, it's cute. But
you gotta butter your toast.
It's sad. It's sad, but it's also kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, the kid does think it's a cat.
Life's a cycle.
Yeah.
You know, you have a magical creature and then you squeeze it on your toast for butter. So, you know.
Oh man, that'd be great.
Put some preserves on it.
A little bit of cabot toast.
Lucor and I, do you still eat Earth Balance?
I do.
Yeah, I love Earth Balance. Put Earth Balance on toast. You put some like raspberry preserves on it. Best breakfast of my life. Boom. Have some tea.
That's not a very aspirational breakfast.
It's great. I almost eat nothing for breakfast. Breakfast destroys my stomach. So I know you've told me for years, or like, because Lucor, I don't know what you eat. I'm not saying this like condemning. Like I wish I could eat like this in the morning. Mike's like, oh, I've had like bacon and coffee and like a series of things. I'm like, I have had like half a piece of toast with like a drop of Earth Balance and like a very small amount of green tea with honey. The end. Like that is like my ritual in water.
Yeah, I don't know. My metabolism is such that I wake up every morning pretty hungry. I mean, it's definitely slowing down as I get older, but I used to be a big breakfast guy.
Yeah, I feel like my breakfasts are like a roller coaster depending on how much time I have.
I still, anything I eat in the morning is just like an acid bath. I'm like, that's why. I mean, Mike, we've been out early, and Mike's like, I'll have like orange juice and coffee. I'm like, oh my god, it's like 9 a.m. Like I literally don't start eating until like breakfast, or I'm sorry, till lunch or something around that time. But I wish I could. I mean, I'm clearly lacking energy later on in the day as a result. I'm like, I wish I could eat that food. Or when it becomes time for lunch, I am hungry. I am ready for that lunch. And I'm sure, Mike, you are like, oh, I could ease into that lunch because I've actually had food to sustain me.
Yeah. Lunch is my least favorite meal.
Lunch is also my least favorite meal, which is a huge bummer. Like I say this, like again, like not condemning, like, oh, I wish I could do this. Like, it's like, hey, it's time for lunch. I'm like, ugh, cool. Like dinner and breakfast are way better.
No, it's kind of better to do just 2 dinners. I've been kind of getting into that recently.
It's like at the end of the night, you eat a dinner and then kind of wait and eat another dinner.
Yeah, you eat a dinner, you work out a little bit, watch a Van Damme movie.
Okay.
This is a program I can get behind.
It's also very specific. Any Van Damme movies as of late? We put some on the rotation. We had 2 movies recently, or not too long ago.
I mean, I guess traditionally it would be either Kickboxer or Bloodsport.
Yeah, I mean classics.
Yeah.
when that old man drops that coconut on him, I can watch that scene every day. When Van Damme dances drunkenly at that bar in Kickboxer, oh my god.
Yeah, and you just make like a nice arrabbiata sauce.
So what you're telling me is you're making appetizers and like these meals based on the vibe of the film.
The vibe of the film and whatever workout the film inspires.
Van Damme's being a slob and drunkenly fighting people at a bar. This seems like I'd add a little coconut, maybe a little twist of ginger to that drink. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, then add some squats and chin-ups.
Mike, we should do monthly segments, not weekly, but like monthly segments of like dinner with Rabbit Troop sucks. Like this is the fourth episode of the month. Like the meat. Lucor could like come up with the catering menu. Like what are the apps? What are the entrees and what are the desserts?
Okay, I like it.
Done. Lucor, we'll start sending you movies and you will come up with a menu.
I think the first local chef we should patronize is Zinzin. She does amazing Burmese cuisine.
Done.
Okay.
Tell us what we should be eating and what movie this will go with. I'm totally in. Mike, you could be the bartender, which I feel is just going to be like you measuring how much tequila should be in that glass. Like, this is a fifth. I want you to say it like that.
A fifth?
Yeah.
Call this one Sex on the Driveway.
Well, it's not advised.
No. It's not advised. Where the fuck are we?
I don't know.
We just got past the butter beast.
Butterbeast. So yeah, this is kind of what we were talking about earlier without context. We pan down into the trash realm where we have, what's the guy with the suit's name?
Kodo.
We have Kodo, who's a weird trash demon or something.
Kind of Dracula-ish.
Yeah.
He knows what he wants.
And he's got his babe demon, whose name is Agi.
Yeah, I like Agi.
Yeah, she's all right. Well, she's not. She's kind of a dick, but
she works hard at it, though.
She does, yeah. Agi is in love with Kodo and wants to love bond with him.
I'm going to tell you why I like Agi. Agi is basically like a Lady Gaga character come to life. But she kind of breaks the realm of the rating of this film for me. She doesn't say anything bad. There's no profanity, there's no nudity, there's no allusions to anything weird like that. She is clearly the most violent character in this entire movie. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there are moments I'm like, that's why this movie's rated R. Like she loves this demon dude and she's like, I will kill all of you to get there.
Yeah.
And I'm like then people are like dicking around sometimes. Like, oh, I'm fighting in a skirmish and she gets in the mix, she's like, they're all dead. I'm like, oh shit. Like she's like, let's go. Like, I told you to kill people. I then killed them. Like, do you not understand? I'm like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
like she's business.
Yeah, she's all business. But we see her where this is how they're creating their army to do whatever the fuck they're trying to do. She throws a spirit into the goo box and then throws some kind of piece of machinery. In this instance, it's a motorcycle. And then this creates the weird mechanized ghouls that we see roaming the earth.
Yeah, half of them remind me of characters from Ghostbusters, the cartoon, when I was a kid.
Sure, the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they're all like metally and like teethy and big-eyed. Like, yeah, the real Ghostbusters, like ghosts. That's what all these things remind me of.
And as this is happening, Kodo is looking down from his weird trash tower and he says, "Yes, release your rage and bury humankind in darkness." Which is what he's attempting to do.
He really encapsulates, like some villains, they beat around the bush.
Yeah. Not him.
No. Or Agi.
He's got a firm mission statement, and he's executing it.
And it doesn't leave a lot of confusion for his minions. Like, it seems like they know exactly what each one of them is doing. He didn't have to re-explain the plan 50 different times.
Yeah, exactly. There's none of this like Bond villain, like he's become a nuisance, take care of him.
Yeah.
It's just like, we're going to murder the humankind.
Yeah. That's why I like Agi. Again, there's like uprisings, and she's like, "You're dead." Like, you thought you were gonna rise up? No. Bye.
And this really foreshadows the importance of someone like the Kirin Rider.
It does.
I know. I mean, like, do they come in 6-packs? Or they come in, singles? Visit us at rabbittroopsucks.com. And, write us about Kirin. Or write Kirin about us. Tell Kirin, finally, you've got the sponsorship that you've been looking for in the States, that Denver, Colorado represents, that, it's not all just Coors and the Coors family here. It's about Lucor's needs. And, Lucor's later going to tell you that waking up with a Kirin in your pocket, like a can of Kirin, the world might be over. You still got a Kirin pocket.
Yeah, I think I'd like to speak to that. Kirin is quite refreshing. And if you happen to wake up in a dystopian, post-apocalyptic realm
which is possible,
odds are you're lying to a little kid that his family is safe. Mm-hmm. But then you notice that you have a Kirin. And maybe that can wait for 10 minutes.
Where's Mommy? 1 second, Jimmy.
Crack this cold one real quick.
I'm going to be over there by myself for a little bit. Kirin.
Because why not?
Yeah, finally. Listen, isn't that the sponsorship that you want? Kirin Pocket. Let's talk about it. Jesus. I'm trying to reach out.
Well, someone's got to.
I later have a note that says 1/2 furry convention. Oh, wait, I think I know what that means. Okay.
All right.
Okay, where are we?
Well, so the kid's now... The kid's got his healed up little Cabot.
That's right, you've adopted it.
He's
nice.
walking around with it on his head. Well, I just kept referring to it as a cat, but yours is better.
I mean, we stole it. We stole it fair and square.
Sure. And he's eaten like a snow cone or whatever. And there's a guy who was at the festival the previous night who's like, "Hey, aren't you the Kirin Rider?" And he's like, "I am, weird old man." Well,
right, I mean, this is really fun. Like, a kid's eating basically like a dessert treat, and like an older gentleman's like, "I want to talk to you."
Yeah.
Like, at times. Side note, that is a snow dessert, and good God, do I miss them. We had some in Denver. I don't know where to get them now. But I've had them in Asia, and it's shaved snow ices.
You took me to that place in Denver.
Yeah, Snow Lab. It's no longer open off South Colorado Boulevard. Yeah, that place is awesome.
Yeah, I counterpoint. I did not think it was very awesome.
I know you said you just wish you had ice cream.
It just made me want just any other cold dessert. But clearly, the rest of Denver was on Team Genova for this one because it closed.
Yeah, it made me so sad.
I know. I'm sorry.
Have you ever had a Piccadilly snow treat? It's like pickle juice and Kool-Aid and gummies.
No, none of this is what I want, Lucor.
Yeah, you're freaking me out. Like, I was super on board with like the pickled
I like the
stuff,
name.
everything.
It sounded
and all the
British and
pickled
fun.
stuff. I was like, pickled desserts. I'm not freaked out. But then you threw in like Kool-Aid, and I was like,
No, the powdered Kool-Aid. A little bit.
that's worsening these things.
Like shake a little here and shake a little there.
So we have pickles, Kool-Aid, and gummy bears?
It sounds like it might be a little stretched, but once you're right there in front of it on a hot day,
Okay.
it'll make those childhood memories of the everything Slurpee at 7-Eleven on a hot August afternoon kind of like puff of smoke. You'll realize that if you'd had some Piccadillys, you could have ridden your BMX bike twice as far.
Wow.
I didn't have a BMX bike.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Or nothing. Oh yeah, but the shaved snow dessert, Lucor, you've never had this? It was, this place at Snow Lab, they would have like flavors like green tea, and then they would drizzle like the Asian like red beans across it and stuff like that.
I only was there the one time, and maybe I just had a gross flavor.
I think you got something, if I'm not mistaken, that was like very reminiscent of ice cream.
It was coffee. I got a coffee.
Oh
flavor.
yeah. I got that. I thought that was really good, but I think like where they really like were meant to shine is like if you got more like tropical flavors, like if you got like mango or strawberry, then like that's where that dessert was like,
fair.
oh, bam.
In all fairness, I got what was effectively my favorite ice cream flavor, and it wasn't as good as my favorite ice cream flavor.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think like if you got like more fruit oriented things, I do think their green tea was dope. But yeah, like that's where it like really was just like, wow, it's like super light, it's super icy. I mean, yeah.
The machines that they used were really cool.
Yeah, they got them from Taiwan. I remember like reading this on their webpage, and I think they sold it at the end, and you could buy them online. They're like thousands of dollars. Like they're like massive machines. Yeah. So listeners, if you want to send us a gift, boom.
Snow machine.
Yeah, do that. And I will send pictures of Mike eating it for you.
Yeah.
And then you can get those audio loops I've been talking about.
I'll eat it.
This is me eating.
Is that what I sound like to you?
Only when you're eating it.
Okay.
This is me eating red beans.
I'm Batman eating red beans.
This is my coffee dessert. Gotta fight crime after my coffee dessert.
Listeners, here's me eating my coffee dessert. But yeah, so this old man, he's not an old man. He's like probably 25.
I mean, just in comparison,
Yeah,
like maybe he's like 30.
Right, like this is an adult male.
Like you're a 30-year-old being like, hey, 10-year-old kid, heard you won an award. I want to talk to you. I'm like, no.
Right.
But like, it's cool.
I didn't really fully understand the meaning of this scene because he's like, yeah, you're the Kirin Rider. And the kid's like, okay, I am. He's like, yeah, I took your picture last night. And then he gets a phone call and it's like some fat cat smoking a cigar on a balcony. He's like, the project is off. You're fired. And he's like, oh, shit, I got to go to Tokyo. And then he just leaves.
I mean, that's every day in Japan.
Is it?
Well,
Shit.
you've got to go to where the story is.
Yeah.
I guess. Oh, no. But the reason this scene happened was because this guy tells the kid the story of him when he was younger being saved by a yokai.
And this is what inspired me, that the connection, sorry, we're never going to do Spirited Away on this. I mean, that's a very obscure film.
Oh, fuck.
But the end of Spirited Away is the lead realizes who the other lead is, who has magical powers. I'm not going to summarize all Spirited Away, but he turns out to be like the river water spirit. And this is like immediately like the scene in this, like I was underwater, I was drowning, and then this river spirit came. I was like, oh my God, this is Spirited Away.
Yeah, the river spirit saves him, and while he takes the opportunity to feel her up, but the river spirit is into this.
Whoa, yeah. Well, it's not just feeling her up. Only her thigh. Friend.
Yeah, sorry, but like
she's into it.
Way up that thigh. The river spirit
Oh, yes, it's not casually lower to the knee thigh.
No, he wakes up and he's like, oh, my hand's on your thigh and you're all wet. I'm just going to move my hand up your thigh a little bit. This chick is always wet, by the way.
One, yes. Two, sorry. And two, this is not going to be the first time this happens, because Mike's like describing this. I'm sorry, it's not. I'm using like a tone that Mike is wrong. I'm more just surprised that this film does this. Yes, this is all true, that this guy wakes up. But we will see later that this happens again.
We'll circle back to that.
Yeah. Yokai.
Yeah.
Yokai. Who's your favorite yokai, Lucor?
I've always been impressed with the utility of having a really long neck.
So that woman spirit later?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
In Spirited Away, there's a cool radish spirit. I like that. I think he's going to take like a soak. Well, I mean, they're all at like the bathhouse, but I think like that's when you see him, like he's on the elevator on the way to go take a soak.
Yeah.
Now, I also really like, if you remember a Chinese ghost story.
I remember that.
Do you remember Evil Mountain?
I do not.
He was a mountain, and he had magnificent Fabio hair. He was blue, and he was a rock star.
I do remember this guy.
I think, he would probably be my favorite yokai.
Mike, what about you?
I like the wall.
There's so many yokai, so many spirits.
Or the
out
umbrella
there.
one.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. There's so many interesting ones. And for the most part, they're hanging out having a good time. Lucor called it.
Yeah.
Like, why we got to break up this party?
Wait, why do you have to break up the party? It seems like the yokai have a good thing going until Agi musses things up.
Yeah, she's throwing wrenches into everything.
She threw everybody into a cage. That was the last thing they wanted.
Yeah, I note that, and that's kind of where we're at. That she is basically, I don't know, sometimes guarding or antagonizing all of the spirits that have been rounded up.
Yeah, she spits acid at them sometimes.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
She's drinking black goo. Mm-hmm. And then spitting acid.
Yeah.
And they're like, you were one of us. And she's like, and then Longy looks at
yeah, but I want to bone this other guy, so.
Yeah. She does.
She does.
Yeah.
Well, now...
this is when I note that half of the yokai is like, it's a half furry convention.
That's true.
Which I know. Half of this room is into.
And you've got to remember that it's not just the furries. You know, there's also individuals who are the other kin, who are subtly different than furries.
The one-offs. The furry pluses, the furry minuses. I don't know.
Furry minus.
It's a furry minus.
It's just
Lucor
about
them.
No. It's just about the species identity. It isn't necessarily about costumes.
Okay.
All are welcome at Rabbit Troop Sucks. We're not condemning anyone.
No.
We're just highlighting half of this is a furry convention or a furry minus convention.
Yeah.
With a little bit of yokai stirred in.
Mm-hmm. That's the whipped cream, my friend. That's where we're at.
We're at the whipped cream?
Well, we're at a place for everyone.
Yeah. And this was where we're
Except
introduced.
For those fucking thieves.
Yeah, people are getting thrown into the Temple of Doom firewell.
See, that's the place that I don't think anyone wants to be, though.
No,
that's the boo box. That's the boo box you want to stay away from.
The goo box?
The goo box, yeah.
It's like a fire goo box.
Yeah, you don't want to go into the fire goo. And the main guy is just throwing people in. And so, much like Temple of Doom, you are disposable. And once you go into the fire goo, you do not come back.
And it's very slow.
Yeah.
You scream for a very long time.
Oh, and it's really gross, too.
Yeah, you're both burning and melting.
Yeah.
And drowning.
Yeah.
I bet you could put all of that out with a nice cold Kirin.
See,
you could, yeah. That really quenches. Okay, but so now the kid is, I don't know where the fucking kid is.
He's walking around with his cabot.
He's walking around with the cabot and he hears his grandfather's voice. And
Yes.
his grandfather is he's in some quicksand or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's super weird. He's like, Tadashi, come get me. And so every now and then, Tadashi has this like a mental, like vision. And it's not like it's coming to life. It's more like Scrubs. Like he has a thought of imagination and he thinks his grandfather is dying in quicksand and he has to run quickly. But he truly does hear his grandfather's voice. But
we did see his grandfather sink into quicksand.
We
holding
did see that.
A lovely yellow flower.
Right. So off he goes into some horrible woods. Don't go into the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he starts seeing some weird shit. He thinks he sees his sister. Mm-hmm. And he's like, hey, sis, what are you doing out here? But she turns around and, oh, fuck, she doesn't have a face.
I am not in for that. That is a trope in a lot of Japanese horror films and or video games and or literature, etc. Faceless people with long hair, not my jam. I don't like it. I don't like it one goddamn bit.
One thing I can say as someone who needs a new prescription for their glasses, I don't so much mind faceless people. They look very similar to faced people.
One day we will get into the Johnny Depp conversation where Lucor thought Johnny Depp and Richard Gere were the same people.
Person.
Yep.
It sounds like we're having that conversation.
No, we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. But yeah, we got a lot of yokai. I noted, the faceless sister, not my favorite. Mm-hmm. There's
the neck lady.
Yeah, there's
a couple of neck people.
That's Lucor's favorite. There's some tongue face rolling around.
Oh, and that gentleman with the head that someone pointed out was too big. And so he acquiesced and shrunk it right down.
Yeah, wasn't he the yokai of lamp oil or something?
I believe that was his introduction.
Yeah.
I've been brought this into the since the early episodes, Mike, but this gave me a real Little Monsters moment where the main character is like, everyone's so scary, but then it's like, no, we're not, kid. We're just... Even one guy's like, that's the way you view us. I was like, boom, in your face, Tadashi.
And there was a lot of bonding. By the time I'd say he'd been hanging out with them for about 10 minutes, it was like they'd never been apart.
Yeah. I mean, he's in love with one for a second, and that's where we get.
Well, yeah, that's where we're about to get.
His Cabot runs off.
Cabot runs off, and he does some other shit. And he's scared, but he perseveres.
He does.
And then this red weird guy pops up, and he's like, "You passed!" Because this was all a fucking test to make sure that he was worthy of whatever they're trying to do. And then out of the woodwork here, we see a fireball. The water babe from earlier, the water princess.
Tadashi goes off a cliff.
Oh, and he gets rescued by the water princess.
Yeah, so again, bringing it back,
Yeah.
much like the photographer and writer that we met before.
Yeah.
Tadashi wakes up.
And with his hand directly in this woman's crotch.
Yeah, and it is... I even wrote, my note is like, this must have been extraordinarily awkward to film.
Right.
Because Mike is correct. This isn't, okay, all right, whatever. Like, I'm not trying to be a weird prude in all this. You wake up, your body's whatever, like you're unconscious. Your hand's on someone's thigh, whatever. Even like privater parts. You just woke up unconscious, like you're unconscious, duh. But this kid, much like the reporter, wakes up and is like, my hand is on your thigh, kind of near the knee. Then it's not. Then it goes a good 9 inches upward, crotch forward. Yeah. That was awkward.
Imagine being the director and saying, okay, so adult woman, we're going to make you all wet, and a 12-year-old boy is going to caress your inner thigh for a little while.
Take 7.
Yeah. And go. Yeah, but so he wakes up with the water princess, and then the fireball shows up, the red guy shows up, and a total bitch-ass turtle man shows up.
Yeah, that turtle man.
He was, I think he was supposed to be the comic relief.
Yeah, he's just more of a jerk.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. I get what they were going for. I think I've seen enough Japanese movies to understand culturally that he was supposed to be funny. He was not funny to me.
Well, you've got to remember, and for those of you at home, he was a kappa. So
yes,
look that up.
Okay. Why don't you just tell us?
A kappa is a water spirit with a small dish in his head.
He did have a dish on his head.
Holds a little bit of water that
Okay.
if that dish breaks and the water spills, he's weaker.
Okay.
But there's a little ball of life force about 3 inches below your belly button that he sucks out your anus.
Okay. I don't...
If you venture too near the water's edge.
He didn't do any anus.
And he has a
sucking in
turtle.
this,
He has
did
a turtle shell.
He does have a turtle shell.
All I needed was that warning to stay away.
Yeah.
And I mean that's a good reason to stay away from water. I mean you could also drown, but more importantly, your little life bead could get sucked out.
Well,
Right through the butthole.
well, let's note this crack crew that we have just assembled, because that is the group that we have. And this kid kind of instantly falls in love with all of them. Like,
Yeah.
he does fall in love with the river princess pretty instantly.
Yeah, well, she's good looking.
But the camaraderie of, like, the group is there. And I looked at both Lucor and Mike, and I was like, this is your D&D crew. Like, this is who you now have. You have a red dude, and he's all in red, his face, his fur, his clothes. He may or may not be a wizard. A river princess who will seduce the hell out of you. A kappa who does weird anus things that Lucor has told me about that I'm not going to go into the water.
No.
You have your Cabot, which is dope as hell. Do we have anyone else in the group?
Yeah, you've got the chosen one.
The kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's there.
He's the Kirin Rider.
Well, and where does this little group decide to go?
The Yellow Brick Road.
The Yellow Brick Road, which leads to the Goblin Cave.
Damn right.
The
you do.
one-legged Goblin King Cave.
Did the Goblin King have one leg?
No, he
the
was
Smith does.
Yeah.
Goblin Smith.
Yeah, no, that's a different goblin. The Goblin King is the one with the goblin sword, and the Goblin King is beholden to the Kirin Rider.
That's true.
Yeah.
They share that.
They did share that
And
at some point.
they get there pretty much immediately.
Well, they do get there pretty much immediately. There is a throwaway scene where there's an Indiana Jones boulder that they have to run away from.
And a rope bridge.
And a rope bridge. Yeah.
Where they're being guided by a flaming ball
Yeah.
on the rope bridge.
And in both of these instances, the one who gets the shit kicked out of him is the Kappa. He falls through the rope bridge, and then
The
gets
little boy saves him.
the little boy saves him, but then he gets crushed by the rock, and he turns into a piece of paper, like in a Looney Tunes cartoon, and he floats away.
Did anyone order an Acme pump where they pumped him back
Yeah,
up?
well, someone must have off screen because he was fine later.
Also, a flaming ball just floating out. Like, that's one of the characters. A flaming ball. Shout out to Rami. Full dirge. Look it up. No one but Rami.
Okay,
And there were actually two flaming balls. One of them was orange, and then later a blue one showed up that acted a little bit different.
Well, what happens when balls touch?
it
Don't-
becomes a party. But they find the Goblin King. He looks like Ganon from Zelda for some reason. And he's like, "Oh, hey, you're here. I got this sword for you." And the kid's like, "Okay, the sword's really heavy though." And he kind of fucks around with it. But then, oh fuck, who shows up? It's Aggie and a bunch of fucking robots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she whips the sword and it breaks right in half.
Yeah, breaks the sword right in half. Fucks the Goblin King all up.
No.
And then he gets carried away with hooks that bit into his back.
Yeah. That guy really gets the shit kicked out of
Yeah,
him.
he got it the worst out of everybody.
I told you, Agi comes in and just wrecks shop. Like,
Yeah, she cuts his wings. He has wings, by the way.
oh yeah, they're cut off.
Cuts his wings right in half, sticks some hooks up his butthole, pulls him just somewhere. We never see him again.
Yeah, breaks the sword in half.
Yeah.
Like, she's given a mission, she does it. I respect this villain.
And,
I don't. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the Goblin King looks like he's moved by it.
Yeah. Well, in addition to all this, she throws the fucking Cabot in a microwave and takes off with him.
That was really weird. I did not want to see the Cabot explode, but it just it is literally in a microwave.
It's not. It's the microwave isn't on.
It is, no, it is because
Oh, is it?
the rotating dish is going,
Oh.
but it's clearly just like rotating the dish.
Well, he's okay.
Yeah, Cabot
Well,
lives.
he's a yokai.
Okay, so he likes a little bit of radiation.
He can deal,
Yeah.
but he's not happy.
Yeah. So after this, they kind of retreat, and they're in this house of a bunch of other yokai, and we're introduced to a few of them. We mentioned them earlier, and they all decide that the only one who can fix the sword is the one-legged smith. He can refuse the sword, but we don't know where. Oh no, he's captured. He's been captured by the babe.
Yeah, they look into that like terrible mirror.
Oh, that mirror sucked, but it showed them what they needed to know. So
Hashtag suck mirror.
yeah.
Did I derail that thought process?
No, well, you lost me with suck. You didn't lose me with suck mirror. You derailed me with suck mirror.
Well,
And when you think about this mirror sucking, imagine what was it, Terminator 2 with the liquid metal guy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just imagine a grotesque liquid metal mirror that shifts from a horrible face, maybe,
Yeah.
into a nightmarish vision into where the one-legged smith is.
and then we get a very weird transition into Kato and the River Princess have a bit of history. And the history is kind of strange. So the River Princess was once an effigy, half made out of straw. And was half washed up to a river. And a younger Kato walked over and was like, "Join me," and kind of gave her a vision of what his vision would be. And she said, "No!" And then he walked away. And she somehow
She made it through.
lives her life now with not straw features. And she shed the straw and now wants you to touch her thigh.
And
could say that.
honestly, it did kind of seem like there was a moment where they kind of caught up.
Yeah, they catch up a little bit throughout the film.
Yeah. It's like, I'm doing well. And he's like, it's good to see that you're doing well.
Like, I'm also trying to kill you. Well, I'm trying to destroy the world. Things are happening.
I'm glad you're not a straw effigy on the beach anymore.
I'm glad you still wear that same robe.
Yeah.
Let's get coffee sometime.
Well, and we also, in this room of yokai, that I don't know if he's the head yokai. He's a blue guy with a big head. And he's explaining to the Kirin Rider what the fuck is going on. And he's kind of giving him a hard time. He's like, hey, you ever throw shoes away, like if they're too small for you? Well, this is your fault because everything that we throw away makes this guy stronger because he's a big trash person. He's like, well, sorry, but we got to go stop him. But no one wants to. No one wants to help.
No one wants to help. That it's such an allegory to the present.
Yeah, no one wants to help. But I feel like I'm jumping ahead, but it's the next thing I wrote down. There's what's the bad guy's name?
Kato.
He now has enough juice or whatever.
He is destroying Tokyo.
This is it. He has a big flying monster city that's flying to Tokyo.
I understand, Mike, why you were like, I feel like I'm jumping ahead. Because in this movie, when people are like, I'm going to do this, they straight up do it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to start destroying the world. Not later, not like after dinner. It's like, I need to break a sword, kill this dude, and then I'm going to destroy Tokyo, and then the rest of the world. And people are like, okay. And then Kato does it. Boom.
Yeah.
Why you sign up with Kato?
Right.
Can you imagine?
He gets shit done.
Yeah, can you imagine like the perks you would get working for Kato's company?
Yeah.
Well, he only has one employee.
Yeah.
That's true.
Agi.
She probably
and
gets,
she works very hard.
She probably gets money, insurance.
There's some it sounds easy what Kato is doing, but Agi has to pull some incredibly large levers.
Oh, constantly too.
Yeah, she is like weird crank pulling and turning and gears are going. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Why did he make his machine so big?
I don't know. Like, could we not just use buttons? Don't we have like better technology? Like we need like gears.
Well, I think
manual gears.
I think he built it out of trash.
But
He just used the materials at hand.
You've got a like 6 foot tall, 200-pound switch, or you could make a switch that's like an inch and a half.
You know what's in the trash somewhere? A Commodore 64, and that could probably
that's
like
fair.
hook that up to some levers.
Yeah.
Oh, especially if you had that controller.
Oh my God, yes. A little button.
Yeah,
little drop in
that's all you
those.
need is one.
Oh yeah. And sometimes it's a little off caliber, and you're like, I'm gonna get wild with it. That's fine.
The computer wasn't listening to what you did.
It knew. It laughed
I did.
like a cabot. How do you think a cabot laughs? Okay.
Is it like that?
It is now.
The sounds that rabbits make are not pleasant.
No.
Yeah.
No. But wait, that brings us back to our cabot who's in jail. And they're like before, they're like, we'll never meet with the one-legged Smith.
Yeah.
And the cabot is in jail because he was captured.
Right. And lo and behold, he's with the one-legged Smith.
Yeah.
Who is a big, hairy pillar of a monster
but
with a foot.
But the cabot rubs itself against you, and that's lucky. It was like to give you
Sure.
strength.
Yeah.
That's nice. And he rubs himself against one-legged Smith.
Yeah, and one-legged Smith's like, you know what? You're right, I need to escape. And he does.
I'm out of here, fella.
With the help of the cabot.
Yeah.
The cabot kind of sacrifices himself so that the one-legged
Yeah.
Smith can escape.
Yeah, but he's going to reforge the sword. And the cabot is basically capture killed, but not really.
Turned into a robo monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we see that once you're thrown through the Well of Souls, or whatever the hell this thing is from the Temple of Doom-esque era that we're looking at, or I don't know why I said era, but like the comparison is, then, yeah, you become that weird, like, robo person. And Tadashi is able to tell this right away in their encounter, which I thought was interesting.
Because it has the bandage that he put on its
Yeah.
leg from earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
It's a coming of age moment.
it is. But we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, because as he's fixing the sword, we get a little bit of a montage, and key to this montage is the Kirin Rider, one, stripping down and putting on his Kirin Rider outfit, which is just like hot pants and a cape.
I would make jokes, but this is on a boy, so I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, am I?
Yeah. Rad.
And it's a cape that says the Kirin Rider.
That's rad. That's
yeah.
I mean, that's the trophy at the end of the bar night.
It doesn't say it in English.
Like that's the last person standing. Like you've made it through Kirin night, you get a cape.
But meanwhile, below them, Tokyo is being fucked up.
Oh, it's
gone.
It's rubble.
And but the guy from earlier, the journalist, photographer, whatever the fuck he is, he survives somehow, and he's like, "This is fucky. I'm gonna climb up this big monster tower that's sitting on top of Tokyo." And he gets up there, and he's kind of getting thrown around, but he can't see any of the monsters, so he doesn't really know what's going on until he finds a case of Kirin beer.
Yes.
Which he decides, you know what, this sucks. I'm gonna just crack a cold one, and he drinks it, and it gives him the power to see the monsters.
Yes, you are absolutely correct.
And he puts a couple extra in his pocket.
Yeah,
Goddamn right you do.
As you do.
I mean, one, it's Kirin. Two, it's refreshing.
It is refreshing.
And we've been brought to you by Kirin.
Yeah.
And three, it gives you the power to see ghosts. Okay, let's do this up. I'm taking them all.
Gives you all the powers. Why aren't I drinking it right now?
I don't know. I wish I had a Kirin for you.
Yeah. Missed opportunity. But so he sees what's going on, but also at this point we have a bunch of other yokai who I guess are answering the call of Rohan, and all come to fucking... I don't know if they're here to help or just to like party, because I think it'll be fun.
It honestly looks like it's a party. I feel like most of this is just a party.
They keep calling it a festival.
Yeah, they're just ready to go.
They were going to do this. Like, it's a coincidence that Kato has this revolution. They were going to be here anyway.
Right.
So basically, look, we were saying like this was kind of like mentally, like as a collective being planned together, but separately for years or like days.
It would be like if Kato told 3/4 of Denver to meet in Civic Center Park to get high on 420. And those Denverites would be like, yeah, we're there.
That's super weird. I was absolutely cutting up vegetables and veggie dip for over 150 people, and I just recently went to the store for a keg of beer. Everyone else did. That seems fantastic. Let's do a little swap, a little tailgating party.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
What do you think yokai like to eat?
Soup?
That's a good answer.
That checks out, yeah.
Yeah.
Very comforting. Well, okay, now montage is over. Guy can see what's happening, and the Kirin Rider is now, he's fully infiltrated the lair, and he comes to his final showdown with a big fucking robot monster that is the cat.
But it's a repaired sword.
Yes,
he has
he
has the repaired sword.
And it shoots like lightning.
Yeah, he's
so
fucking
super
shit
cool.
up with this sword.
And it seems like if he's not trying, the sword tries for him. And
Yeah.
if he tries, the sword makes him a little better.
Exactly. It's like that Jackie Chan movie, The Tuxedo. Where is that what you
No,
noted
that's
as well?
funny. That's a real great analogy, which I should have thought for other movies, because I wrote it's like Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange's cloak.
Yeah, kind of.
Like whipping around.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
doing its
Like
own
this
stuff.
thing is kind of sentient, and it is making him, it's giving him not just powers, but also like
Political powers.
it's political powers. Yeah, but yeah, he's like jumping around doing some sweet moves
You gotta do sweet.
and just cutting down these monsters. But now, oh no, it's the Cabot monster, and he's conflicted about this. And also the river princess shows up.
sunekosuri, the Cabot monster, is now a robot monster.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yes.
But reasoning with it doesn't work, so he has to fucking kill it.
Yeah, slices it in half.
Yeah.
And I wrote, is this any better? Because what happens is he does have to, Tadashi does fight and kills it, but then through the power of his tears, it reverts back to its Cabot-like self.
And then he just has to fucking watch it die.
And then it dies.
And ooze butter.
Yeah, there's like butter oozing out of it. And I just wrote, is that any better? Like, so
No,
your
it's
tears
much worse.
reverted it to the familiar beaten face you now remember.
Right.
I mean, that's very reminiscent of American Werewolf in London.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So then what's her name? The river princess shows up and is like, I'll never forgive you for killing this fucking thing.
Yeah, that was a weird comment because
Yeah.
she watched the battle go on, and then Tadashi's like, "No, we're gonna get the people who did this to him," and she's like, "Okay." Like, she doesn't say anything, but she's like, "Okay." Like,
Yeah.
why the hell did she say that to him?
I don't know, because she's crazy.
Well, they were friends. She really liked the Cabot.
She was in on the rage of this thing, like she was about to be killed as well. Like that's just like a really odd thing. Like someone breaks into like our place of employment or something, and Lucor shoots them, and we're like, "Oh, we knew them, but they were gonna kill us." I wouldn't be like, "Damn, Lucor, why'd you do this to me?"
No,
Well-
maybe you should, though.
Maybe. Well, I think so.
I hope not.
Skipping ahead a little bit, she does have a final confrontation with the bad guy, Kato.
Kato?
And it's alluded that he's trying to like do a Palpatine Vader thing, where he's like, "You really hate everyone, don't you?" And I think this was to feed into that hate, but she didn't buy it. But anyway, that's we'll get there in a second. But the Inga, no,
Inga?
what's her name?
Agi?
Agi shows up and she's fucking pissed. She's fucking pissed about all of this, and they have like a little bit of a tussle. My notes are real sparse by the end of this film.
So at this point in time, she is really angry because Kato's promised her, like, we're going to destroy the world, but basically you'll be my queen. You'll be my number one, and I'll love you forever. Like, that's the illusion.
What I got is that she wanted to jump into the goo box with him and become one thing.
Yeah, she did express interest in becoming a single being.
Yeah, she does say that. You are both correct. Yes. Yes, like that's essentially it. Like she is going to morph into that, and he's like, yeah, not so fast, you suck. One of the yokai that we have not mentioned has simply been this bean collector. He is
Forgot about the
collecting beans,
314 of them.
314 azuki beans, and even says like, this is great. I really can't help you, but I'm just the bean collector. But somehow having those beans and having that number and having them together makes sense. But he has lost them over time. So in the background, what we haven't told you is this guy's been trying to collect them. He's like, I need to find them. And then does. And then immediately he is yeeted into the air and all of his beans go into the goo. Am I wrong with this?
Well, yeah. So what happens is, while he's doing the final bean collection, Kato, yeah. He addresses the river princess. He's like, "Hey, remember when I found you when you were an effigy? Do you fucking hate being a yokai?" She's like, "I do hate being a yokai. I fucking hate everyone." He's like, "Yes, use that hate." And I think he's trying to maybe get her to go into the goo with her.
Yeah, that seems like it seems like that invitation could exist.
Yeah. But she's like, you know what?
I help people.
I know. Yeah, but I help people and I love people. I know I just said the opposite, but
It's complicated.
I changed my mind. But what's her name? Inga? Not Inga.
Agi.
Agi. Jesus. It's getting, I was good at the beginning. Agi's like, no, but like you and I are going to do this. He's like, I don't want to anymore.
No.
Double cross. And he's like, I'm just going to jump into the goo by myself and become my final form, my best self. And this is the moment where the bean guy gets yeeted and the beans fall into the goo box with Kato.
Yeah,
and it goes surprisingly bad for him after that.
But the most magical song plays.
There is
a jam.
Paul and I,
it's fresh.
I'd like to sidebar here real quick. Paul and I watched this movie, 10 years ago?
Well, much longer than that.
15 years ago? A long time ago. And I don't remember why or how we found it. But the Bean song that plays really resonated with us. And recently, Paul had mentioned, like, what was that movie with the song, with the Bean song? And I didn't remember, couldn't figure it out. He did some deep research and found it.
And here we are
And
today.
here we are today. So that is how important this Bean song is. Not just to the movie, but to the world.
To my heart.
And to Paul's heart.
I would own the soundtrack in a second. If
The soundtrack is great.
Like, I have not researched if the soundtrack exists. I will, if accessible, like for realsies, I would 100% buy this.
Yeah.
If it's some like $100 collector's unit, I don't need that. But like to actively listen to, I would buy this album.
Yeah.
And it'd be great.
Yeah. No, it would be.
And the bean mixture does not go well for Kato.
No, it fucks him all up. To the point where his little flying monster city explodes.
Right. And now the yokai party is like full on party.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a party, but like the shockwave from this sends them packing. Like everyone explodes. The yokai seem cool with it, but it looks aggressive.
Yeah, at first I wasn't sure that they would be okay.
Yeah, it looked like they were all dying.
Yeah.
But then some of them were like, "Here it comes, let's ride it."
Yeah.
And I was really delighted to see that I was mistaken.
Yeah, they were all right.
And that's the Kirin Rider.
Yeah,
And so Tokyo,
is destroyed.
yeah, and I would assume other places in the world.
Probably the whole world.
Right, like just in rubble. And so the character that we see, the photographer writer from the beginning, he is just in the middle of a street of ash and broken concrete, and bringing it back, as Lucor, you noted, wakes up with a can of Kirin in his front pocket.
Yeah,
And he's cool with this.
he is very cool with it.
You wake up and you don't know if the world is gonna be there tomorrow. It could be worse.
Well,
Got
what-
Kirin in the pocket.
One place that was still there was the rural town that the kid lived in with his grandfather and mother. It was protected presumably because of the box of beans that he won when he became the Kirin Rider.
So going back to the, remember the opening narration, it was like, that summer I fell in love and told a white lie.
Okay.
I wrote the new narration should be like, that summer was bananas.
That summer was bananas. But this is also where we see the white lie. Because when the photographer guy and the Kirin Rider come to and destroyed Tokyo, the guy asked the kid, he's like, "Hey, did she ever talk about me? The water princess who I'm in love with?" And the answer to that is no.
I know the white lie, yeah.
But the Kirin Rider's like, "Oh yeah, she talked about you like a ton, all the time."
He said she always wanted to meet you, and she was so happy that she could.
Yeah.
And they're like, that meant the world to him.
Yeah, and then that's when we have the narrative from the Kirin Rider. He's like, "A white lie is a lie that makes other people feel better. A red lie is a lie that makes you feel better. I told a white lie."
I think it's, what kind of drunk are you?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 3 Kirins. Are you a white liar or a red liar? Because red liars, you got to leave the bar.
Yeah,
you got to go. You got to go, friend.
someone's got to go.
Yes, someone's feelings hurt. And then this movie ends kind of honestly in a really sad way for me.
Yeah.
So we jump ahead, and Tadashi is now an adult, and it looks like he's leaving his house and he's going off to work.
Grandpa's dead.
And the Cabot
He's a ghost.
is a ghost. Yokai's back, but I guess he's too old to acknowledge this, or like much like the idea of like when you're a kid you could see these things, and you're an adult and you grow out of these things. The Cabot is struggling, like
Yeah.
see me, and Tadashi rides off, and that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And then we are just shown a weird park shot of kids walking and then doing stuff, and sometimes people are there.
Well, I mean, with the amount of festivals that this village has,
I'm talking about, man.
they must have a new Kirin Rider every few days.
Nope.
So, well, I mean, I'm guessing that he lost his powers a week later when they had a new festival.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, I did see in some research that there is a sequel to this film. It's the Great Yokai War Guardians that came out in 2021. I don't know if this is a reboot or full-on sequel. The one thing that I read, and I did not read really much about this, is the actor who plays Tadashi has some kind of cameo role as a teacher in this. So somehow it's all connected. I really don't know. Clearly connected by Japanese folklore that we have exhibited that we know very little about.
Yeah, I'd watch it. I'd watch this.
I'd totally watch it.
Yeah, I would too.
So before we get into our final assessment, Anytime you have movie suggestions, anytime you have ideas for us, reach us at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com. You could go directly to rabbittroopsucks.com to contact us or to stream some of the most recent episodes. We can be found on anywhere that has podcasts or Instagram or Facebook. But yeah, going through our final assessment, Lucor, what do you think of The Great Yokai War?
I think fundamentally this is a very fun movie. It's a movie that I think you have to be patient with. They take time to build scenes, to build, character development. It's a movie to simply let it take you on this magnificent journey through magical worlds, and it'll be 2 hours that you kind of feel good about spending.
Yeah, Lucor is totally right. This movie is, I think only a couple minutes under 2 hours. So patience is definitely going to be there. I agree. I totally dig this movie. This movie is crazy in so many ways. So many of the characters commit to their villainy, which I told you I like. I do like that, there's moments where you're thinking, this is all in this kid's head. This is one summer. My imagination grew, and me and my friends played in the woods. No, Tokyo's destroyed. People are dead. PG-13, fun family stuff. This movie's just weird as hell, and I love it. There's a lot I don't understand clearly. Clearly, I plead ignorance with my lack of knowledge on Japanese folklore to this extent. But I had fun with it, and that damn song, that bean song, azuki beans. We should have been eating azuki beans and drinking Kirin. Mike, what did you think?
No, yeah, I had fun with this movie. I'm glad we went back to it. I think the version that we were watching, it's subtitled, obviously, or I guess maybe not obviously, but it was subtitled. I also feel like the subtitles were made by someone in a basement somewhere, because there were weird capitalization and punctuation issues, but there were also times when there would be a subtitle, but also no one said anything. So I don't know if there were nuances of the film. It
was implied
that maybe we missed, because obviously I don't believe any of us speak Japanese. But yeah, no, this movie is super fun. It's fucking bonkers. The costumes are great. The effects are kind of fun. It's like a low budget fun film. And I'm fine with this movie.
Honestly, I feel the only place for me this movie suffers is the budget. The CG is not great.
No, it's bad.
The mechanized warriors we talked about are really just bad looking.
Well, they kind of look like Seventh Voyage of Sinbad stop motion skeletons, kind of.
Yeah.
But not in a charming way.
Well, we've reviewed Manborg and we've talked about it, and with a shoestring budget, we've highlighted that movies could, excel. This movie, I don't know what's going on with the special effects. Yeah, it's just super weird.
Yeah, that's true.
I told Mike I really didn't remember it. I didn't remember it at all. The special effects.
I didn't either.
I remember the actual yokai and the weird costumes and the designs. I remember the Bean song, but I did not remember the special effects. And going back, it is aged bad, not well.
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, that's not anyone's fault either. But I love the story, and I would totally rewatch this film.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
we did it.
We did.
So now that we've all seen it, do you consider this the Great Yokai War? Or I know, spoiler, Guardians came out, but not knowing that knowledge, would you just call it a day? This is it. Going back to World Wars, are we done? Are we done with the Yokai Wars?
I don't know. I haven't seen the second one.
Well, we're saying assuming you didn't think there was a second one,
yeah,
living in the moment of now, you are a young Tadashi. Mm-hmm. You're dude, Kato's dead.
Well,
is the Yokai War over?
Yeah,
Has Narnia returned?
The Tokyo's destroyed, so
no, don't worry about that.
Okay. And it's just like the Great War. The world learned a lesson. It was never going to have a war like that again for 20 years.
Boom.
Briefly, we learned a lesson.
And you're right. 2022 or 21, we get Guardians. So, boom. So, thanks for listening, Rabbit Troop Sucks listeners. Thanks for listening if you're in these countries and you're like, how did I get here? And again, write us. you're always free to, sign up to any podcast and give us a fantastic 5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Oh, hey, a quick administrative note. I know some of you listen on the website itself. And the website, because we don't pay a lot for GoDaddy, there's only like the most recent 5 or 6 episodes. I threw a link up there to all of the episodes, so you can stream them from the website. You just have to click on a link.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're on our website, we only host, or you see the 5 episodes, just click on the link. You'd see them all. Awesome, Mike. That's great.
Yeah.
Any final words, Lucor? Anything you want to say to Denver, Colorado, and listeners of Rabbit Troop Sucks, or anyone in general? Shout outs? Plugs?
No, just say, hey, how's it going?
Do you want people on the street to say that to you?
No.
Yeah.
So, universally, hey, Denver, Colorado, but P.S., leave me alone. As always, Rabbit Troop Sucks.
What's next?
Oh, damn, Mike. Sorry. Next time, we'll be reviewing and covering Grandma's Boy.
Hell yeah.
We'll be doing Grandma's Boy. We'll be having a lot of fun with it. Yeah, watch it ahead of time if you're into it. We'll see you then.
Yeah.
But as always,
Rabbit Troop Sucks.
Bye.